says man bun.
That is a woman bun. Exactly.
That sounded like one of their songs.
Stop it. I'm taping.
lots have been going on in the orchestra program since then, and so I think tonight you are going to see and hear the results of lots of hard work from these awesome musicians. So we're going to keep things rolling. That first piece was by Mozart. It was entitled Allegro Spiritoso from one of his Divertimentos. And up next, we have an original piece by really a current composer, a very popular composer by the name of Brian Paul Mages, and it's entitled Variations on an Irish Tune. So since our last concert, we've had really a lot of time to rehearse, but we've also done some different things in the classroom, and I think it's always fun to at least give you all an idea of what we've been up to. So When we got back from winter break, students really were on their own in a way to work in small ensembles. And they had a full week to work in duets or trios, or in some cases quartets, and just get a different type of musical experience. We get the full group really almost every day. And they have opportunities first trimester and third trimester to play as a soloist for their individual performing assignment. But for the trimester two, it's fun to give them a new experience to play what we call chamber music, where there's one on a part. So we sort of transitioned into that for the first week or two in January, and then we kind of resumed our rehearsals for the concert tonight. So hopefully you see lots of musical progress. Some of the things that we've been really focusing on in both groups have been just playing with much more expression and working out some of the finer details with articulations and things like that. So I'm really proud of their progress and their work, and I say that for both groups. So anyway, it's always fun to at least share with you some of the things that we've been working, because I have kids in school, and sometimes they don't always share what they're doing in school with me. So I'm not sure if that's the case with you, but that's how it is with my kids in my house. So anyway, we're going to keep moving. This is a piece by Beethoven, and it's a really fun piece. I think you'll get to hear some of the little nuance in here, both the dynamic contrast, which refers to the loud and the soft, and also what we call articulation, so different lengths of the notes, and some are more emphasized, and some are shorter, and some are longer, so you can certainly listen for that. Our final piece here tonight, you're going to actually hear from this composer twice on this concert. Once here, then Chamber Orchestra is also playing a piece by the same composer. Gustav Holst is known for a number of different compositions that he composed, but probably the suite of pieces that comes from this particular piece that we're going to play from you now is maybe one of his most famous. It's from a work of his called The Suite from the Planets, and so he has 7 different movements trying to musically portray some of the different planets in the solar system. And so this is an arrangement of a chorale, which is a very slower and just sort of beautiful lyrical section from one of the planets, which was Jupiter. So if I could say that this is probably the class favorite, I think I would go out on a limb and say that. But I think this really gives you a chance to hear the lyrical playing from this group. We've worked so much on phrasing and just playing in a smooth and connected manner. And so I kind of wrestled, and the students up here know this, just where to put this in the program. Should it be in the middle as sort of a slower piece? But I do think that they play it so well that we decided to go with this as our conclusive piece for their portion here. So we hope you enjoy. This is the chorale from Jupiter from the Planets.
Thank you.